What up, everybody? This is TG. Welcome to the Spectrum Podcast. I know you guys are excited to talk about what we're going to talk about is all about the NBA Finals. What should I say? What's going on so far? So we got the opportunity. Hit that turn on those notifications so you know it's no. Help this video get out there to your friends and family. Share it across multiple platforms and help us get out there. This show is brought to you by the OHIO podcast. You guys can always find me as a part of the Spectrum podcast on the Roundtable show of the OHIO podcast. And I know tonight these guys have a show. Tyler, don't be surprised. This is going to be a constant problem. Let me just tell you this now. It's going to be a problem the rest of the time until I figure out what to do. All right? Or until I go back to my apartment, because the Wi-Fi is just going to suck. It just is. Oh, this was a problem that he was going to end up being a problem. I know. Trust me. No. I'm actually monitoring from here, so if it continues, I'm gonna go on my other computer. Let's see. Even though I have this thing plugged up to the router, let's see. Okay, there we go. I think I fixed something. Okay, there we go. I think I fixed it. Alright, so I think I figured out what the problem was. So, glad I got that out the way. Now that we finished that, and that's out of the way, we can finally start talking about some NBA playoffs and what's going on so far. So, what we're going to talk about is obviously what's been going on in the NBA playoffs thus far. And no doubt about it in my mind that I've been excited watching the playoffs. I've been planning on doing a live stream, actually, funny enough, about this. Or not even just a live stream, but maybe something like a watch-along for you guys whenever I have the opportunity. So let me go ahead and pull up the NBA games. And we can break down exactly what's been going on. Because I know as of right now, if you guys aren't aware, there is a NBA game going on currently right now. It's the Knicks and the 76ers as far as the NBA playoffs are concerned. That game's going on right now. But I will tell you right now, the Knicks have it well in hand because they are kicking the crap out of the 76ers right now. It's actually pretty hilarious. So, but we need to understand what is this game looking like. So first, I think I'm going to want to talk about this game at least. And from what I understand, with the Knicks, oh, I swear, my thing froze again. Okay, we seem to be back for a bit. Give me a second, y'all. Alright, the connection is secure and everything. I do not get why my thing does that. But, so let me tell you guys real quick. So as I was getting to, I was talking about the NBA playoffs, particularly the game between the Knicks and the 76ers. Hopefully my internet can stay up this time. But according to what I'm reading here, why are the 76ers have gotten their butts kicked? Well, it's because they're getting beat in every single area that isn't free throws. So I'm going to read to you guys the stats real quick. 3-point shots. Knicks, 24. I pause right there because I want you guys to understand. What I'm going to read is just such a disparity. The Knicks have 24 3-point shots to the 76ers 7. I'm going to say that again. The Knicks have shot 24 3-pointers to the 76ers 7. And that's not even the worst. The Knicks have hit on 57 51% of their three-point shots versus the 76ers, who's hit 21.22% of their three-point shots. '76ers. Okay, let's start with that, because this is kind of getting ridiculous. You cannot tell me, and I mean this when I say this, you cannot tell me that you're in the middle of a playoff run and that you're only shooting 7 threes and you're not even hitting them at a high rate. You're hitting them at the lowest percentile I've seen an NBA team hit. You care to make that make sense? Because that's just terrible. I'm sorry to tell people. That really is. That's just terrible. As a matter of fact, it's kind of amazing of how thoroughly the Knicks have been beating their behind all up and down how they've been whooping them all up and down this entire court. So, so we all know that you guys have been terrible at your three-point shots. Let's look at your field goal. It's actually the one thing where the 76ers actually are good. And they have a 50% at their field goals to the 53.8%, which is basically 54% for the Knicks. And, you would think that'd keep them in the game, but their three-point shots are terrible. It's like, if the Knicks are hitting them at a high rate, and typically if you're hitting that many three-point shots, you take 24, the chances of you hitting 56.8% of them is not great. I would expect at least a low 40%, but the fact that the Knicks hit over 56.8, which is basically a 57, almost 60% of their three-point shots, that's enough to turn the game around entirely. Then you get basically to the free throws. Now, like I said, the free throws, they're basically even on that. There ain't no tie. 72.4% versus 71.4%, basically 73, 72%. There ain't that much of a difference. But then let's get to the other categories that really do mean something in basketball. Let's talk about that. For the Knicks and the 76ers. So for the Knicks, you have a 47 total rebounds to the Knicks 30. Now, how many rebounds is this total? Now, let's start with defensive, because I'm going to talk about the offensive in a minute. But the defensive rebounds, 32 for the Knicks, 23 for the 76ers. For the 76ers, why is it that you have less defensive rebounds? Well, if I had to say this, it's because from what I'm looking at from a stat perspective, you guys have allowed 15, and I'm just going to say this, 15 offensive rebounds by the New York Knicks. You've allowed 15 offensive rebounds for the New York Knicks. That is borderline terrible. That's borderline terrible. And you have 7, but it's like, no, dude, you allowed this many for the Knicks? Are you kidding me? But it's not even just that. Let's see here, personal fouls. Now, both of you have at least 20, 22, 23 personal fouls. Great. 9 points off turnovers. That's where the difference is. Points off turnovers. The Knicks have 20, 76ers 10. That's horrible. That's horrible about 76ers. And it's not just how horrible it is. Like, you have points in the paint to their 40, which is good. But the fact that you can't even get points off turnovers is terrible, man. Like when you have the ball turned over as many equally amount of times that you have with the Knicks, you should have at least close to that. Instead, you're blown out the water as far as points off turnovers. That's horrible. That's blatantly horrible. And then when you look at the largest lead of the game, 76ers 2, Knicks 44, which really explains how this game got out of hand. Like, are you serious? From how the Sixers have played in this game, it really shows me a lot of things about this team, which is they're probably not going to win, if I'm being honest, this series. Because right now the Knicks lead 3-0 and might just completely clean sweep them. Just because of how bad they've been playing for the past 3 games. 3. It's horrible how bad they played. Oh, wait a minute. No. As a matter of fact, I'm wrong. This was game 4. So the Knicks just clean swept the 76ers. No, I'm wrong. I was wrong. No, the Knicks got clean swept by the 76ers. That is horrible. Like, you guys got clean swept because I'm going back looking at the games in which you lost. And from what I've been watching, y'all just got your kicked all this series. Like, what are we doing today? What? Like, the 76ers will forever be a disappointment of a franchise in the NBA because what is this? Like, if I'm Joel Embiid, I'm going to get the heck out of Philly because it's old now. Like, what are we doing? It's terrible. The other team I'm going to talk about here is the Lakers. I knew the Lakers weren't going to win this series just based on their performance against the Rockets. And I say this for this reason. You had a chance to clean sweep the Rockets 4-0, and you completely choked that. I'm being serious. Like, even though the Rockets, and I understand that they had some injuries and stuff didn't go their way, and I get that with them. But you had a chance to close it, and you dropped 2 games. And the Rockets had a chance. They had a chance to go to take it to a game 7 if they didn't screw around, if they didn't screw up. They had a chance. They had a chance. Whether people know this or not, they had a chance. They just didn't take it when they had it. But the Oklahoma City Thunders, they are a much better team than the Lakers. From what I've seen of these past 3 games with the Lakers, and I'm going to get to the Cavs in a minute, so I want you guys to tune in, because I've been watching the Cavs second round games as well against the Detroit Pistons, and I think that might be a good series. But from what I've seen of this Lakers-Oklahoma City, it's what is to stop Oklahoma City from repeating? Because they are a really good team, and I don't know if there's any other team in the West that can compete with them. Like I said, I think the Rockets had a chance had they stayed fully healthy with Van Vliet. Fred VanVleet was injured. And I think that if he was healthy, I think they would have been fine. But because of the injuries, it didn't work out that way. It didn't work out that way. So I do believe that the Rockets would have had a chance had it not been for that. And a couple of the injuries. Not to mention Kevin Durant did get injured early, and I don't think he's been the same since. So we'll see if he can keep it, because hopefully he can keep his injuries in the regular season, and then you got to worry about it coming in the playoffs. But when I'm talking about this, but let's talk about this this Lakers Thunder as far as the stats, because it is like, oh my God, it's like one team gets one thing right, but the other team is just terrible. Here's what I mean. With the Lakers, you actually took as many 3-point shots, or damn near as many 3-point shots as the Oklahoma City Thunder in this Game 3 matchup, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. But unless both your stats are 44, are both in the 40-point shots. As a matter of fact, the Lakers beat the Oklahoma City Thunder in that. Where they lose is free throws, where there's a bit of a gap, but not too much, only because the Lakers have more free throws, which isn't shocking. Than the Oklahoma City Thunder, because the Lakers had 25 versus the Oklahoma City Thunder at 10, which I'm not surprised, because apparently the Lakers will always get those kind of favors. Where they do lose in the percentage, however, which you would think, is the field goal percentage. Now, you think this would be a much closer game, right? Wrong. Only because again, now the Thunder have an 80% free throw percentage because of the 10 versus the Lakers, who had 25 and only hit 18 of them. For 72%, which isn't bad either. That's actually really good, but in this kind of game against this kind of team, not. Now, as far as rebounds, they're both pretty equal in a sense. Both pretty close. Closer than what you saw with the closer to what you saw with the Philadelphia 76ers and the Knicks, where the Knicks was just destroying them. The assist equal. Blocks, Thunder actually have that one by 2. They have 3 to the Lakers 1. Where this is a problem for the Lakers, and why this game and why this series has not been close at all, has been this one thing: turnovers. The Lakers in this game against the Oklahoma City Thunder, which it's actually kind of funny because against the Rockets they had the same problem. They had the same problem with the Rockets, is their turnovers. Steals, the Oklahoma City Thunder have 12 to the Lakers 6. That's horrible. That's horrible. I'm sorry. Like, Lakers, not even close. Not even close. Not even close. Not even close to the freaking Thunder when it comes to steals. Then it's not even. It's turnovers. Lakers have 16 to the Oklahoma City Thunder's 9. Oklahoma City did end up getting complete BS. To be quite honest, if you ask me, the Thunder should have at least, if I had to take on the crappy calls from what I have to see, I would say they should have at least 4 or 6 turnovers. So, but the officials obviously BS for the Lakers in this game, which they're going to do. Now, for the points off turnovers, and this is where it gets devastating for the Lakers. 11 points off turnovers for the Lakers. 30 for the Thunder. Reminiscent Knicks 76ers, because that is just horrible. And the Thunder, again, they knew how to create turnovers. They were creating turnovers all this entire series. They were creating turnovers and had more points off turnovers than the Lakers ever did off the turnovers they got on the Thunder. And it's the same with fast break points. You know, I didn't bring this up with the Sixers and the Knicks because it wasn't as bad. But with the Lakers and the Knicks, it's bad. I mean, the Lakers and the Thunder, it's bad. 19 fast break points for the Thunder to 9 for the Lakers. Oh boy, that is horrible. That is horrible. Oh, but it gets even better. Points in the paint: Thunder 64, Lakers 44. Time of possession: Thunder win by a quarter mile, not even close. That's horrible. Personal fouls. Now, this is where the Lakers do get the benefit. But again, what I say for the Lakers is this: you basically get the benefit of the doubt because of the officials. I can't lie about that. Y'all literally get the benefit of the doubt for the officials, because the officials were giving you foul calls all freaking series. They were. I'm sorry. They were doing this all series, which I don't know why. Um, but it ain't been because you guys can't get points off turnovers or fast break points or time of possession or points in the paint. And then when it comes to the largest lead game, the largest lead you have is 5. The largest lead that the Thunder had is 27. Like, games of what I've seen with the Knicks, and the Cavs, of the Knicks and Sixers, the Lakers and Thunder has shown me this. It's, you know who's a fraud team time they play a good competition. It's obvious. The Thunder might repeat this year because they have been the best team. And to be quite honest, it might be better for them too. I kind of hope they do, to be quite honest. Because I felt bad for them. I really have over the years. And when they finally won a NBA title, I felt happy for them in their city. I did. Now, there are going to be some more games coming up tomorrow, which will be the Lakers-Thunder's final series, and I will be watching that. I'll let you guys know that. But first, same with the Pistons and the Cavaliers for Game 4, depending on how Game 3 goes. Because as of right now, right? And if I'm not mistaken, the Cavs won Game 3. If I'm not mistaken. Yes, they have. Because the Detroit Pistons have Games 1 and Game 2. Now, let's talk about this game. Because I know for a fact, Eric and all the people in Ohio are going to want to hear about the Cavaliers. What have the Cavaliers done in this game? Well, here's what I will tell you guys. They actually are right there with the Detroit Pistons, and they have been all series. This is what I will tell the Cavaliers fans, such as Eric and Tyler and Sean and all the people in the state of Ohio. The Cavaliers have actually not been as embarrassing as these other teams. Like, the games in which they've actually lost with some grace. Because, here's the thing. The games that they just won right here, pretty fairly even. As a matter of fact, points in the paint, close. Fast break points, close. Points off turnovers, the Cavaliers actually won this one. Last time they didn't win it, those first 2 games, they did not win points off turnovers. This game they did. They had equal amount of turnovers, both the Pistons and the Cavs in Game 3. By the way, for those of you wondering, yes, the Cavs won Game 3. They won this game, and they actually outperformed the freaking Detroit Pistons. By a few smudges. Not by a lot, but by a few. The only thing that you can say they were not great in as far as the Cavs were the free throws. Because the Cavs had 28 free throws and shots 18 to 28. 64.3% percentage on free throws, which isn't great to the the Pistons, who had 18 out of 22 for 81.8% completion percentage, percentage, I should say, on free throws. So that, I will say, for the Cavs, you got to do better on that. Like, you did better everywhere else. Like, 3-point shots, both of them, 36, 37. Well, 38, actually, if you round up for the Cavs. So both were pretty close as far as 3-point percentage. The Cavs actually win they not only win the 3-point percentage, but they also win the field goal percentage battle as well. Like, they made more, they've actually made a higher percentage of their shots than the Detroit Pistons did in this game. As a matter of fact, for 3-point shots, for the Pistons, this is a little embarrassing. 9 out of 25 on 3-point shots. But I will say for the Cavs, they can't talk too much because they went 12 for 32. So, they can't really say too much. They can't. Now, when it comes to rebounds, they're fairly even, except for one area, and that would be offensive rebounds. See, the Cavs lost that by a margin. That is the one area they actually get completely destroyed in, is offensive rebounds. They have been terrible offensively rebounding the basketball. It's been terrible for them. I mean, my God. The Pistons had 17 offensive rebounds to the Cavs 5. How they were able to win this game is the defensive rebounds they ended up getting. I would say, as far as but on the glass, they got to do better. Now it's closer as far as total rebounds. 40 total rebounds for the Pistons, 33 for the Cavs. But they got to do better. I'm not going to lie. When it comes to offensive rebounding, either they need to block out the Pistons entirely, or better yet, go on your side of the board and get offensive rebounds. Like, you can't keep giving the Pistons second chances because eventually they're going to cash in on that. So I will say for the Cavs, that's something they got to fix is their offensive rebounding. Because you can't let the Detroit Pistons destroy you in offensive rebounding. You're lucky it didn't hurt you in this game. Because it hurt you in the previous ones as well. I will say that now. Because that it has been the de facto right there is the offensive rebounds. That is the one thing that has really hurt the Cavs in this series. It has been offensive rebounds. Everywhere else, they've been even. They've been neck and neck with the Detroit Pistons. Except at offensive rebounding. If they can fix that, they'll be good. If they can fix that, they'll be good. They're neck and neck with the Pistons. Another battle in which they actually do beat the Pistons in is points per possession. They do beat them in that pretty soundly. I'll give them that. They usually have been close neck and neck with each other. But this one, the Cavs actually beat them. So I give them that. I give them that. That is actually very much by the Cavs. The largest lead in the game was 17 for the Cavs. And 7 for the Knicks. I mean, for the Pistons. God damn it. I'm so stuck in that game because of how bad the 76ers were. I mean, just bad. That game just wrapped up, too. It was bad. So let's see here. Let me keep looking through everything, too. Because, yeah, now they're pretty even in everything else. Like, offensive rebounding, they got to fix this. And from what I've even seen, because I haven't allowed myself to look at the individual players, but from what I've noticed is that some of their best players, like, for instance, Harden only scored 19 points in this game, and Donovan Mitchell had 35. Like, this man really carried this team. And when it comes to three-point shooting, both were terrible. Both Donovan Mitchell and James Harden, they were both terrible as far as three-point shooting. They were terrible this game. They're terrible this game in three-point shooting. Terrible, just absolutely terrible. Let's see here if I'm looking at them fully. Yeah, it seems like y'all teams. And then when I look at the Pistons, let's see. Shoot, the only person as far as in this entire game who was even good at three-point shooting all game seems to be Duncan Robinson, former Miami Heat small forward. Former Miami Heat small forward, man. I mean, and Duncan Robinson was great in Miami. I mean, that man was hitting threes I know tomorrow, and I'm not surprised he was the best of this game. He still went 4 for 7, which isn't great by his standards, but still he's better than everybody else who was shooting threes, because even on the Pistons, my God, the only other person here who's even was good was Tobias Harris. He only shot 3 threes. So I was like, nah, like the Harden and the Cavs were great at threes, but you know, at least Dennis Schroeder went 100% on 3 points. Like, made all 3 3-pointers. But my God, man, it's like this 3-point shooting in this game was horrible. I remember watching it too. This 3-point shooting in these guys was horrible. But the rebounding is what I'm really looking at. Cade Cunningham had 10 rebounds and 10 assists. This man had a triple-double. 27 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. And somehow the Cavs won this game with him playing like this. Somehow they won a game with him having a triple-double. But granted, though, his shooting, his field goals were solid. His 3-point shooting, terrible. No different than Harden and Mitchell, to be honest. Free throw shooting good as always. Looking at here, because yeah, I would say this the players of the Pistons were really doing everything rebounding. Like Jesus Christ, but I think Kate Cunningham had 10 rebounds. Ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And Eric, thank you for telling me that. I figured you guys were gonna talk about that, by the way. Eric. So Eric and the OHL podcast, just so you guys will know, we'll be talking about RJ Day, Ryan Day's son, going to Northwestern. And apparently his dad would win him, as well as Urban Meyer. So they will be talking about that in the upcoming OHIO podcast. Make sure you guys check that out tonight. And like I said, you guys will find me on a OHIO table round turn. And now that I figured out how to pretty much fix my internet and keep it from doing the stuff it's been doing, I could maybe I could come on here and I ain't got to worry about my stuff always crashing out. Because now I know what to do. So yeah, no, if I were you guys, check them out. And again, if you guys want to keep on, like, share, subscribe on the OHL podcast. Like, share, subscribe here on the Spectrum podcast. Remember, this show is brought to you by the OHL podcast. Just like the Buckeye Zone and the Illuminati podcast. Friends of mine with Mika Hanna and Sean the Schrock Star, my former co-hosts of the Buckeye Ladies and the Buckeye Lounge. You guys can check us out. And I'm planning on having these people on at some point. All three of us on at some point so we could talk about everything regarding recruiting, college football, maybe some pro work regarding everything else. But, you know, we'll see how we would want that show to get drawn up. So I want you guys to make sure you guys check out the roundtable tonight on the Sunday night live stream of the OHL podcast that will be coming up right after this show at 7 o'clock in Chicago time, 8 o'clock in Ohio time. Basically, you guys will pretty much be able to watch these podcasts at Eastern time, or Midwest Eastern time to be exact. So back, but now that we got that out of the way, back to the one and only OHIO. Back to the one and only show brought to you by the OHL podcast. Back to talking about the NBA. So now that we're pretty much back on that, we got another game we need to talk about, and that is, which has been so far a good series. I've actually enjoyed the Timberwolves and the Spurs. Now they just completed Game 3. They're going to be on Game 4 tonight at 6:30 p.m. I might do a pre-record reaction video that we'll have put on Patreon for the NBA, because I will let Eric know he might want to create an NBA section for reactions. And because the TG NFL rundown, he can keep that up there, because I'm going to start doing NFL reactions as soon as the NFL season comes back on. And I would think he should do a NBA rundown podcast for me on there as well. I will let him know to do that, because I'm going to want you guys to want to see those reactions to the NBA game. I'm going to want you guys to see that when it comes on later on at 6:30. But let's talk about the previous game, Game 3, as to how things worked out. Now, the Spurs won that game. They won Game 3. I expect this to be a back and forth. It should go 6 games, maybe 7. This has the potential to go 7, I'm not going to lie, because these two teams have been great. So let's talk about the Wolves and the Spurs. So in this game, both teams, once again, very equal. Even a free throw percentage, equal, very much equal, or very close to equal. Obviously, the percentage is better than the other, but not by much. Now, in field goals, Spurs do win. They do have a better field goal percentage, but it's not by much against the Timberwolves. 3-point percentage is very close, but the Spurs do win that. And free throws, again, the Timberwolves win that. But the Spurs aren't far behind. As a matter of fact, they shot almost a close number of the same free throws. But I will say that the Spurs shot a little more. Now, when it comes to rebounds, as we talked about this, offensive rebounds have tended to be the category in which a lot of these teams have lost back because they tend to get outbeat on the board. Well, in this case, it's no different. Now, in total rebounds, they're very equal. But as far and in defensive rebounds, they're actually super close. Actually equal, almost the same amount. The Spurs have 40 defensive rebounds to the Timberwolves 39. So basically, they're very much equal as far as defensive rebounds. Where the Spurs got beat, of course, is offensive rebounds. The Timberwolves had 15 offensive rebounds to the Spurs 8. Typically, I will say that in these games, the offensive rebounds have been very back and forth. I'll say that now. Between these two teams, and I'm kind of surprised for the Spurs that you only have 8, given the fact you have Victor Wembanyama, a 7'4" mother ever who can just go out there and get the ball from over anybody. Like, I'm surprised you only have 8 offensive rebounds. Like, is he not near the basket or something? Like if you're the Spurs, keep him near the basket. Like, try to let him get that rebound, because man, that make more sense. That make a lot more sense, but no, the Spurs get beat out in this one. That's kind of surprising. Now, in assists, obviously, we all know 22, 26, not that far away. Both each have 7 blocks. Now, I will say this. The Spurs do have more steals and less turnovers than the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves only got 3 steals to the Spurs 9. So the corners is not exactly out for 2. But is what I will say. Points off turnovers equal, basically. I would say the Spurs only have two more turnovers than the Timberwolves, because it's 15-13. So, yeah, they only have 2 turnovers point difference. So, it's not that bad. Fast break points. Obviously, the Spurs do win this one. Not by a lot. 13-7. You think. But it's not like the Timberwolves get blown out in fast break points. Like, that's the other thing. It's like, with some of these games that can go 5, 6, maybe even 7, is that these teams are able to go back and forth with one another. And that's what I've seen with the Cavs and the Pistons, as well as the Spurs and the Timberwolves. I think that this game can go to 7. These games can go to 7, 5, 6, 7. They can go that many games only because these teams have gone back and forth so many times, and you can see it. That is the potential. Now, whether that will happen is up for debate. But I will say that the Timberwolves won game 2, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong about that. I got to go back and check it. But these two teams have gone back and forth with game 1, I think, either belonging to the Spurs or belonging to the Timberwolves, and vice versa for game 2. So, and I got to go back and check on that one because I've watched a lot of playoff games, so I tend to forget which one sometimes. But, yeah, no, in this one, points per possession, I will say the Spurs do definitely beat out the Timberwolves in this one. Points per possession. Like, they got more than the Timberwolves, and it's by 10. Points in the paint, 46 Spurs, 38 Timberwolves. Not bad. Personal fouls, both are pretty equal. Now, what is surprising, too, as well, what isn't so surprising, is the fact that the Spurs had the largest lead, the game of 15-4. And again, the Spurs did win this game, everybody. They did win. But like I said, and like I said, somehow they won this game without having the most offensive rebounds. Somehow they won this game without doing that. Somehow they did. And I think it's because of the defensive rebounds they had. They had more defensive rebounds. And they were able to still find a way to beat the Timberwolves in spite of that. So I will give the Spurs credit on this. They won game 3. Now you're going to a game 4, which will take place tonight. And I'm kind of interested to hear all of your thoughts as to who's going to win. And I'm not going to lie, I really do believe that the Timberwolves and the Spurs and the Cavaliers and the Pistons have the potential to go 7 games. They have the potential, like 6 or 7. Because obviously after these game 3s, there's going to be a game 5. But I do want you guys' opinion for games, for the upcoming games. So for the Spurs, you got game 4 versus the Timberwolves. I want to hear you guys' thoughts in the comments section, especially after the video ends. I want to hear you guys' thoughts as to who you think is going to win between the Spurs and the Timberwolves and the Cavs and the Pistons in their upcoming game 4 matchup tomorrow. So I want to hear who you guys think is going to win between the Cavs and the Pistons tomorrow, or who's going to win between the Cavs and who's going to win between the Timberwolves and the Pistons tonight. Between the Timberwolves and the Spurs tonight. I want to see who you guys think is going to win. Now, if you guys are like me, you're going to believe OKC is going to beat the Lakers by game 4. So you can pretty much chalk them in as the Western Conference Finals. You already know that, as I told you before, the Knicks cleaned up the 76ers, so they're already in the Eastern Conference Championship game. So I want you guys' thoughts as to who would be the better opponent for the Knicks and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Which of these opponents, between the Timberwolves, the Spurs, between those two, who's going to be the best matchup for the OKC Thunder in this upcoming battle, in this upcoming Western Conference Championship game? I do want to hear you guys say that. Because if I had to take a guess as to which one, I mean, it's kind of up in the air because both teams are really good. But I'm not going to lie, I would love to see Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs go up against the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think that would be a really good freaking matchup. That would be a really good matchup in my opinion, especially with Wembanyama versus SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Man, sign me up for that matchup. But I wouldn't mind seeing Ant-Man versus Shai Gil either. I wouldn't mind that, but I would love to see that matchup of the Spurs and the Spurs. Yeah, the Spurs and the OKC Thunder. That to me would be a great matchup. I can see it, but I also do believe it could be the same thing with Timberwolves. But I believe the Spurs and the Thunder would be a great matchup. And as for the Eastern Conference, who goes up against the Knicks? Ooh, this is the one I'm not gonna lie. I think both teams are interesting. The Cavs and the Cavs. Yeah, the Cavs and the Knicks, I think would be an excellent series. But I'm very interested in that, and for once, and I hope Chris and Sean and them do not get angry at me when I say this, I would love to see the Pistons versus the Knicks. I think that would be a heck of a series in its own right. Maybe even better than the Cavs and Knicks. And I don't mean that as an insult, guys. For all the Cavs and all my people in Ohio, I do not mean it as an insult. I'm dead serious. I would love to see the Cavs go up against the Knicks. I think that would be fun. But I also am very intrigued in seeing the Detroit Pistons. How good of a team they've been. I'm super interested in seeing how the Pistons and the Knicks would match up, because I think both those teams matching up in the playoffs, going to 7-game series, would be elitely good. I really do. It's been quite amazing, honestly, watching the NBA playoffs and feeling the love of the game again, because I'm not gonna lie, the NBA playoffs and the NBA itself had started becoming kind of less interesting. But I will say from 24 and 25, I mean, I would even say 23, honestly, going back then to a little bit after, I would say it's been doing a lot better. We've been getting back into the groove of things. I do. And I'm really interested in seeing how those Western Conference Finals matchups will play out. So you guys, give me your comments down below as to what you think the Western Conference Finals matchups will look like. Will it be the Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Cavs? The Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Timberwolves and the Spurs. Timberwolves or the Spurs, I should say. Do you think it would be them versus the Timberwolves or the Spurs? Give me your comments in the comment section below after this video ends. And it's the same on the Eastern Conference. Cavs or Knicks? Who is the better matchup? What is the best matchup in the Eastern Conference Finals? The Knicks versus the Cavs or the Pistons? That, in my opinion, should be you guys' biggest discussion. And then once we finally have our answer as to between those teams, who will go on to face the Thunder? Because like I said, I'm betting on the Thunder to beat the Lakers in Game 4. Like I don't have any faith in the Lakers whatsoever. I think they're a fraudulent basketball team. Always have been. Even when they got Luka. Like I never believed they could. So, I do want you guys' opinion on that one. Who do you think will win their following upcoming matchups of the NBA playoffs? And who do you think will face, what do you think would be the best matchup in the Western and Eastern Conference Final? And in the next video that I do, we will be talking about Ohio State, and there are apparently some surprises breaking out in spring, because apparently there is a surprise player that has been breaking out at Ohio State that no one talks about at all, which is kind of surprising when you think about it. And I will break down who that player is. Another player, and other players as well, there are two tight ends actually that are breaking out, funny enough. Both of them are tight ends. But we also have another set of breakout players with someone that we've heard being talked about in the safeties, the corners, and others as well as on offensive line, and how there might be a shakeup on the offensive line for Ohio State. We'll talk about that tomorrow. I will talk about some NFL news that came up, and we'll be talking about, obviously, the Western Conference Finals. The NBA Conference Championship games will be the main headline of all of it. So, if you guys want to, I'm going to end the series, I'm going to end the show right now. I appreciate talking to you guys. The game between the Cavs, between the Timberwolves and the Spurs will be starting, and I will be doing a reaction video. I will pre-record it. I'm not going to live stream it. I will pre-record it, and you guys can watch it on Patreon. And like I said, I'll have Eric set up a NBA kind of like TG's NBA rundown podcast over there, where you guys are basically just going to have me watch me react to clips of the game, or either the highlight or the full game. Like, it's going to be either or, and you guys get to see exactly what I'm talking about, because I love breaking down the NBA more than anything. I know you guys haven't had a chance to hear me talk about it a lot, but I do watch it, and I don't like commenting about certain teams during the regular season until I see them in the playoffs, and understanding what their weaknesses are, and understanding what teams could be really good moving forward. So, again, I can't wait to see you guys in this upcoming next week. Next week, I should say. Yeah. Next week, Sunday, you guys will be having rundown of Ohio State spring camp, the surprise players, and people who have been shockingly surprising and shooting up their stock in spring camp that nobody's been talking about, especially one in particular, which is going to blow your minds. Or two, I should say, because one of them's freshman. We're also going to be talking about, like I said, the NBA news that's been coming up lately, and we will be finishing up the show of next Sunday with the NBA conference title games. So we will finish it up with that. So I can't wait to see you guys next week. Check out the roundtable tonight, as they will be talking about RJ Day, who's a great friend of the channel, great friend of myself, and the Shrug Star. We interviewed him before, and Sean on their show. So make sure you guys check out, once again, here on my buddy Eric's comment right here about the OHL podcast, where they talk about Urban, Ryan Day, and RJ Day appearing in Northwestern. Make sure you guys check it out. And again, make sure you guys check out the upcoming roundtables that we'll be discussing. I will be on one of them eventually. You guys will be let known. Obviously, I post about it, so you guys will know when I post about it. I will let you know. But as of today, like I said, thank you guys for tuning in. I love you guys. Hopefully, see you guys next week. Hit that like, share, and subscribe. Turn on those notifications so you never miss an episode. And like I said, make sure you guys comment down below, what games do you think, who do you think will win their the quarterfinal games between the Timberwolves and the Spurs, the Cavs and the Pistons, and what do you think will be the best matchup for the OKC Thunder and the New York Knicks in these upcoming conference titles games. Make sure you guys put that down below. So I'll see you guys later. The Spectrum out.